Hi, everyone. It is Mayor Carey, and I am here tonight. Feels a little bit like we have re-entered COVID land. So thank you for rejoining us on Zoom. We will try to make this as warm and welcoming as we possibly can. And with that said, if you need captions, they are turned on, but you need to click on the bottom of your screen to turn them on your screen. So we have enabled them, but each individual Zoom user needs to have them show for your personal screen. So if you are in need of those captions, please go ahead and do that. I want to take a minute to welcome Catherine Zager, who is our Director of the City of Bloomington Utilities, as well as Council Member Isabel Piedmont Smith, who are both joining today. And for those of you who haven't been to a town hall before, I'll go over the format and I'll do a little bit of orienting to how we'll do this on Zoom tonight. So I'll give you a brief update on the city from where I sit, and then I'll ask Catherine to do the same on utilities, and then Councilmember Piedmont Smith will give us an update as well. As you know, we were supposed to be at the Frank Southern ice rink tonight. Instead, our entire city has turned into the ice rink. And so I hope you all have enjoyed the winter wonderland. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. I am welcoming you to chat our hosts with questions once the updates conclude. If you can hold your questions until we're done with updates, our facilitators will be much more able to digest those questions in real time and be able to answer those better. The panel will respond and answer to those questions. And I want to just say that usually during our town halls, especially if we have a crowd about this size, we try to sort of open up the mic and have a more conversational tone. It's a little harder on Zoom, so we'll do more of a Q&A format. And we do commit to keeping these to an hour. So these are not your some prolonged city meeting that some of you may be used to. This is a 1 hour, come hear what's happening and get your questions answered. So I just want to start with a shout out to our crews, Public Works and Parks, street utilities, sanitation, all these folks, and Fleet, who have been out clearing roads and helping to keep people safe. We went down to 20% on our crews overnight last night, and then came back at full force this morning at 6 a.m., ready to get started again. I want to say an extra special thank you to CBU that brought extra equipment downtown, and so that we could load up dump trucks with snow and move it off the downtown streets. And of course, police and fire were on duty all night and throughout the winter weather. And we were even able to offer some assist to the hospital that was needing some transport of their critical personnel during the snow. I want to make a special comment because there seems to be misunderstanding every time it snows. Property owners are responsible for clearing their sidewalks. That means businesses and residents. And so the downtown sidewalks, whatever's in front of your business, please get that cleared. Homeowners as well, get those cleared, landlords, etc. We do have a Snow Buddies program where able-bodied volunteers sign up to help their neighbors. So if you are physically unable to clear that snow, please check out that program. And if you are physically able to clear snow and you know you have neighbors who are less able, please consider taking time to knock on those doors and check on your neighbors and help them clear that snow. I want to just transition a little bit to talking about where we are at the beginning of this year. Over the last year, many of you have commented the same thing, that you see me out in the community. And that's what this administration is all about. We knock doors, we show up to meetings and community gatherings, and that matters a lot to me, because listening is where good government begins. And we listen first, then we discern, then we lead forward with an action plan so that we can deliver results to the community. And that the number one result that we are driving towards right now is housing attainability. And you see that happening in several different ways, but most tangibly, we are really looking forward to groundbreaking in Hopewell by September 2026. You may already see some earth moving, and the core building is moving along. But we will get moving in earnest on that south side development in late summer, early fall. We will do the South Hopewell first, and then there are at least two more phases after that. Ultimately, what we're shooting for is that housing doesn't stall between steps. So we are in the process of developing Hopewell. We are learning a lot about where our planning and zoning misses some beats and could be a lot more efficient, and the communication could be a lot better throughout departments. It is confusing, to say the least, and what that means is a cumbersome process for people who want to get housing built. When we increase supply, of course, we can help drive the cost of housing down. But really what we need is ultimately to prepare for the generation we already have here, as well as the generations to come. We know we have people who really want to live in Bloomington, and they cannot afford to live here. And some of them just simply can't find units to live in here. For more on housing and homelessness, I really want to direct you to our housing and homelessness report that we released in November of 2025. That is a large document. We've done our best to sort of simplify it, but you can find a lot more details on how the entire city is working on housing and homelessness in that document. I'm going to try to breeze through my next updates. Economic development, our goal there is to grow our workforce population and to grow wages so that we can reinforce our economic base. And, some folks say, why are you focused on economic development? We have people who can't afford to live here. These two things go hand in hand. And so in order to really create the kind of housing we need, in order to meet the needs of people who are unable to meet their basic needs, we also need active economic development, because that grows the pie of what we are able to offer. So specifically, you may have seen a press release that I did about the College Square property, and really making that actionable into economic development. That property's taxes go directly into our TIF, and that TIF funds lots of affordable housing for us. In fact, it's the primary driver that we're going to be using that we have been using at Hopewell, and that we will be using at the Summit development. We'll continue to support the convention center. We are eager to get a new hotel built wherever the CIB ends up landing with that. And the convention center, of course, is proceeding really well. Trades District also is actually developing really quickly. The public arts going up, culture programming, new employers, a new hotel there. So there's a lot of vibrancy in our downtown and reinvestment in Bloomington happening right now. I'm gonna give an update quickly on public and community safety. We are fully staffed in fire. We had a total of 272 applicants and reached full staffing in September of 2025. We anticipate police will be fully staffed by the end of this calendar year. And we are working really hard towards smarter responses, which means that we're matching the right tool to the right call. So we're doing a lot of public publicity on Stride, which is our alternative response. If you don't know about Stride, ask me about it during the Q&A, because I can talk for a while about Stride. That is our crisis center, and a call to Stride gets mental health support and crisis support. We are having fewer unnecessary police responses, and we believe that increased use of Stride will result in better outcomes for people who are experiencing crisis. Overall, our crime decreased by 6.4%, and BPD service calls increased 5.9%, which continued a 5-year upward trend this year. So we have to drive those alternative responses so that we can get a good balance of getting people what they need. In 2025, we also targeted several different things that have been plaguing our community, not just ours, but throughout Indiana and the nation. Of course, those come in the form of fentanyl at times, which has killed a number of people in our community. We have seized multiple pounds of narcotics this year, and our police have been working hard not to get the end user, but instead to work up the chain on people who are really preying on folks that are vulnerable and are experiencing substance use disorder. So we want to get as high up that dealer chain as we possibly can. And our police have been slow and patient in working through that so that we can help the people in crisis and cut off the supply. We've recovered multiple firearms and stolen vehicles this year. And all of this has contributed to about a 43% reduction in crimes involving weapons over the course of the past year. I want to take a minute to address flock cameras. Flock has been in the news recently. I want to give credit to Isabel Piedmont Smith, the council member who's on the call today, who has helped bring this to the administration's attention. We use flock cameras to support targeted investigations. We don't use them for general patrol. The use is limited and governed locally, and we have the very tightest controls on our flock systems now, where our flock cameras are only directly accessed by BPD, and you have to have a case number, an active case number, to query any flock system. So that means that an outside system could query if a license plate was used here, but they would have to be a law enforcement system. We are in discussions with Flock to make sure that we are protecting civil liberties here, and that we are locking down this information to the best of our abilities. I'm taking this very seriously, and it is our intention to ensure that law enforcement, including ICE, cannot access our data under any circumstances. And so we're meeting with Flock in middle of February, and plan to keep the public updated on those findings and our process. The Flock company is experiencing a lot of feedback from the public. That is valuable because it puts a lot of pressure on them to secure their data. That needs to be a constant process for them, especially in this day and age where we see that our federal government can turn against its own citizens, especially when it comes to ICE. So we're taking the Flock investigation very seriously, and we'll be meeting with that company in about a month's time. I'm gonna stop my updates because I've taken long enough, and I know there'll be plenty of. Sorry, and Deputy Dog would like to have a voice in the town hall tonight, I guess. I want to make sure that Catherine and Isabel both have their opportunity to give some updates, and we have plenty of time for questions and answers. Um, in closing, I'll just say that my priorities are not separate. They act as really a whole cloth approach to a thriving community. And I'm really delighted to see how many people are logged on tonight and engaged for another town hall. And we will continue to do these. Catherine, I'm going to turn it over to you for a utilities update while I silence my microphone and Deputy Dog.
Good evening, everyone. Catherine Zager, Utilities Director. We've just got a few updates from CBU that I would like to let everyone know about. So our first update, I wanted to talk a little bit about our service line inventory. And so that is specifically, we're inventorying looking for lead service lines. So what we're doing is we're proactively identifying unknown water service line materials as part of our ongoing lead service line replacement program. This work helps CBU meet the EPA's lead and copper rule requirements. And so our drinking water is lead free. Lead can enter water after it leaves the main through older service lines, indoor plumbing, or fixtures. So there have been recent updates that also require utilities to build a comprehensive service line inventory and notify customers about known or potential lead lines. Some folks may have already received a notice. We sent those out last year. If you haven't received one, you may receive one soon. And so we're asking for resident participation in our lead service line inventory. So if your service line material is listed as unknown, we're asking for your help in identifying it, which we have some helpful instructions on our website at bloomington.in.gov/utilities/inventory. When you go to that website, you can click on the button that says Submit Service Line Composition. And when you do, there will be a link to an interactive tool that actually was put together by NPR, which can help you identify your private service line if you can identify it within your basement or where your water shutoff is. The more customer participation we have with us, it'll help us update our records faster, thus prioritizing work more efficiently and reducing the time that it takes to complete our inventory citywide. Yeah, so that's lead service line. Next, I just wanted to update everyone about our financial assistance program. I've talked a couple times about how we were looking at how to update and expand our program to better support residents. And so we have implemented that at the beginning of this year. And so the reason for doing this is because we budgeted $100,000 each year for assistance, but not all of that was being used. And so what these changes are doing, they're meant to remove barriers and help make it easier to access. So some of the changes are that previously customers receiving direct payment assistance had to pay 2 bills after every 3 months of support. Now customers can receive assistance consecutively as long as they reapply and continue to meet our eligibility requirements. Previously, customers had to apply before being shut off. That requirement has been removed, and now eligible customers can now apply even after disconnection, as long as they still meet the program requirements to have service restored. So, just how to apply. You can start applying with South Central Community Action Program at civiform.bloomington.in.gov programs/water assistance. Really, I think if you just Google CBU assistance, you should be able to find it. Um, and so so even if you don't qualify through SCAP, it's important to note that households with total annual income at or below 300% of the federal poverty guidelines may still qualify, even if you don't qualify for other programs through SCAP. So you may still qualify for direct financial assistance. And so we're hoping that these changes will encourage folks to reach out as early as possible if they know they need help, because we're definitely here. So that's our financial assistance program. I have two more updates. Sorry. Our next update, I just wanted to give kind of a general update about the status of fluoride. Last time we had this town hall, we were exploring some options. We were exploring relining the current tank. What we've decided to go with is a temporary system. We removed the bulk tank that was leaking after it was determined that relining it was not going to be effective. And so we've installed our temporary system, and which has already received approval from IDEM. And so what we're waiting on now is to confirm that, what we're waiting on now is a single part for a day tank, and to confirm that it's running smoothly. And it should be done very soon. And so I feel comfortable saying that we should be able to have fluoride by the end of this month. Checking the date. But yes, I feel very comfortable saying that we should be able to have fluoride again by the end of the month. Yep. And so once we've gotten the system fully tested, and we are up and running, we'll release a press release for the public to make sure that everyone's informed and knows that it's back in our drinking water. And then finally, I just wanted to address just some general information about main breaks. And so we've had quite a few main breaks recently. And that is something that typically happens when you see big swings in the temperature. And so the temperature fluctuations, specifically freezing and thawing cycles, they cause the ground to move. And then combined with that, the age of the infrastructure, any sudden rapid changes in water pressure, any kind of issues with the pipes, or even ground disturbances can all contribute to main breaks. Let's see. And so some people ask, what can we do to prevent them? So the truth is no utility can really prevent all breaks, but proactive maintenance and infrastructure investment can help reduce their frequency and severity. CBU does this by tracking main break data to identify trouble spots and prioritize our water main replacement projects. The current capital improvement plan used to inform the ongoing water rate case allocates $19.8 million to replacing aging water mains and servicing valves. So when they break, how are they fixed? I just in general want to let folks know, big shout out to our crews right now who are fixing these main breaks in these freezing temperatures. In most cases, when our crews dig up the main to fix it, they do what's called a full seal clamp over the pipe to stop the leak. Sometimes when you have more severe breaks, they may require the removal and replacement of the whole section of pipe. And then once the repair is made, either through the clamp or replacing the pipe, the line is flushed at the nearest hydrant or house, and then the water is tested, especially if pressure was lost, just to make sure that it's meeting all of our standards. And so those are all of my updates from CBU.
Thanks, Kat. Appreciate that. Notable that there's only, I don't know, 4 days left in January, and you think that fluoride will be back in our water by the end of January. So thanks for all your hard work on that. Isabel, would you like to provide some council updates.
Well, thank you very much. Glad to be here and to see a few dozen people on the call. Always good to see people, especially from District 1. Go District 1. I don't have very many updates. The council has not done a whole lot yet. We're just, we have new leadership this year, with Isak Asari being the new council president and Sydney Zulik, the new vice president. I wanted to speak just for a moment about community. And I don't know about you all, but I've been watching what's unfolding in Minneapolis, and it is shocking. And I think no matter what your politics are, it is shocking and disturbing to see federal agents in a city, and that much fighting and violence occurring. And I think it just reminds us all to that our local relationships are so important, and knowing and being there for our neighbors and supporting each other, and the building the trust between local government and the population we serve is so vital. And I think that's what we're trying to do with these town halls. And I really have seen a lot of support just with the severe weather we've had, with the emergency winter shelter, people helping each other shovel out their cars. We have such a great community, and those are the bonds that are going to help us into the future as the federal situation is more and more uncertain. And so I just wanted to, it's kind of the elephant in the room for people who have been following the news, that it's been very disturbing. So I just wanted to get that out there, that we know that it affects everybody, not just the people in Minnesota. So thank you. I'm here mainly to listen.
Thanks, Isabel, and thanks for addressing those ICE actions in Minnesota, where they've murdered two U.S. citizens, and those were federal agents that did that. So disturbing on many fronts. And I am hearing from residents who are disturbed about this. For those of you who don't know, I am advocating that you call your federal representatives before they vote on the DHS bill. That's the Department of Homeland Security bill, which funds ICE. That is happening this week. I have called our reps. I will be on the Hill later this week. I will be addressing this with them. Our community does not support this, and we need to be assured that our federal government is actually on the side of the U.S. people. And I think many of us are losing faith in that through these actions that we've seen with ICE. And on that very happy note, I just want to open it up for people to submit questions that you'd like us to address. And while you're submitting questions, I'll just say that a winter storm like the one we have just had is an opportunity for us to see how many helpers there really are, and that Bloomington really is, as Councilmember Piedmont Smith just mentioned, a special island of peace and caring, where sometimes we can lose track of that. But I really hope that we can continue to be that for one another, and to help everyone in our community know that that there are neighbors here that want them here, and that will continue to help take care of them. Desiree, do we have any questions submitted yet?
Not
can see?
yet, but if you
Okay.
do have a question, the best opportunity is to chat one of your hosts, depending on who you want to direct your question to, whether that's Catherine, Councilmember Piedmont Smith, or Mayor Carrie Thomson in the chat.
Okay. We've got one. It reads, good evening. I appreciate this time to be in conversation. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how we as a community benefit from being surveilled by Flock, how this benefit outweighs what feels like substantial risks to safety. The program has been rejected or canceled in at least 23 communities, including Austin, Cambridge, Eugene. Yeah, thank you for this question, Jean. Just so you know, Flock is not a surveillance system. It captures license plates, so it's not. We're not keeping data on people and their actions, and our data is deleted after 30 days. Flock has been really instrumental in our community in child abductions, in solving murders, and endangered missing elders. And so it has been an important tool in helping to solve things very quickly. And so you ask a good question. What is the benefit, and how does it outweigh the risk? Those are the benefits. And as your mayor, I don't want to look in the eyes of somebody who is missing a loved one and say, we unilaterally said we weren't going to use technology that was available to us without checking to see if we can more formally secure this data. Right now, we have the strictest data agreement with Flock that exists. And so again, we can only, you need a case number, and it needs to be a law enforcement entity with a case number to get anything from Flock. And all it will tell you is if a license plate has been in the community. So again, taking this very seriously, Jean and others who may be listening on the call, if you have ideas for how to make this safer, I want to tell you it's a concern of mine too. I'm happy to meet and talk about what your ideas are and how we can what we need to be asking for from Flock if we continue to use it. I thought I saw other things popping up, but I don't have. Oh, here. Okay. Okay. Nicholas and Helen ask, hasn't the city technically increased housing supply with the abundance of rather unattractive apartment complexes throughout Bloomington? How do you think that increasing the supply is going to have an impact on affordability? We're considering some form of rent control or something more radical to truly impact the issue with affordability. Thanks for this question. I'm going to take this, and Catherine or Isabel, if you want to chime in, just give me a signal. Just providing increased supply is not affecting the cost of housing at this point. And so we need to do more than just increasing supply. And part of the critical nature of what we're doing at Hopewell is that we are creating ownership opportunities that, and we're in the process of building some recapture models into that so that we don't have steeply escalating prices there. Hopewell has house models that we believe will sell for as low as $83,000, and that's owner occupied. That is a very modestly sized house, just a few hundred square feet. Those models go all the way up to about 2,700 square feet. And as you can expect, the more square feet and the more complex the house, the more expensive it is. And so we have to do some layering to get the affordability that we're really looking at. And part of what we are really up against is that the market has been really good for student development. And I think it'll continue to be good for student development. And those are the unattractive apartment complexes I think you probably are referring to. And, you know, those student developments rent by the bedroom, and they continue, even with vacancies, they continue to not be affordable. So we really want to drive towards something that that is attainable for people, and that will have to also include, even in the face of voucher cuts and other things, working creatively with Bloomington Housing Authority and others to create truly affordable housing. On the topic of rent control is illegal in the state of Indiana. So that has been legislated through our state house. Now is a good time to note that the State House does an awful lot of work that limits what we are able to do at the municipal level, including rent control. It also implemented a bill last year called SEA 1, and that is, it's being sold as a reduction in taxes for our residents. But in fact, what is going to happen to most is that they will see an increase in total tax amount. As taxes are redirected to the state, and those with the most expensive or highest value property are going to see more deduction than those with modestly priced properties. So I think I have answered the layers of question there. And oh, this is a...
Can I add something, Carrie?
Yes.
So yeah, preemption by the state government is a big problem when we try to address the housing crisis. One thing that we have done recently in the city council is to pass a revision to our incentives. So we can't require affordable housing to be built, but we can offer incentives to developers to say, okay, if you build affordable housing, we'll let you increase density or increase the height of your project. And the definition of what we consider affordable has recently been revised. So it used to be 120% of area median income, that somebody who earned 120% of median income would spend 30% of that on housing. And that's how we determined that that was affordable. Now, that never made much sense, I think, because 120% is more than the average median income. So, so we have decreased that down to 90%. And then for a tier 2, for added incentives, some of the housing has to be 70%. So for the basic incentive, it has to be 15% of the housing units have to be at 90% of area median income affordable. And for the tier 2, which is even more height or density, I think 7% have to be at 90% area median income, and 8% have to be at 70% area median income. So we're trying to at least make our incentives make more sense to provide really accessible housing.
Yeah, thank you for that, Isabel. And I'll note that we have a good percentage of units at Hopewell, even owner occupied, that are going to be attainable at less than 80% of the area median income. And I think something like 76% of them will be attainable at less than 100% of the area median income. So it's a complex puzzle. This is something that both council and the administration are working on. Really, maybe we shouldn't say in lockstep, because we have different parts of that we work on, but we all have the same goal. And I'm really appreciative to council that they've been working on this a long time, and the complexity of getting legislation right and getting, in the end, the programs right on the administration side can be really tricky. So it's great to have phenomenal partners on council that are working for the good of our residents. The next question is from Janeth Welch. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right. Has the city had any conversations with the county commissioners or council members about a location for the new jail, especially any properties the city owns? So I'm not sure what timeline this is referring to because as most of us know, the jail has been a very long conversation. And so, yes, the city has, I have had conversations with both commissioners and council members about jail locations. I'll just say briefly that my personal opinion is that the jail does not need to be downtown. There's no jail visitation, so it doesn't need to necessarily be on a bus line. And most of that staff actually eats in the cafeteria. They have a great cafeteria at the jail. The Justice Building is another issue, though. The Justice Building, of course, many people have to come to the Justice Building for many reasons. And so it is really important that that is in a central area, on a bus line, et cetera. Where the county is now with the jail, we had thought that North Park was totally off the table. Recent comments from commissioners have made it sound like maybe it's not. I'll just insert my personal opinion now on the jail, which is that we really, I believe in a government that really values every dollar that we have, and I think building a mega jail in this day and age is not in anybody's best interest. And we would be much better served as a community to build just the jail that we need, and to ensure that we really are using whatever other dollars and expertise we can to do recovery services and diversion programs. So that's my 2 cents on the jail. And I have heard a plethora of different properties discussed, so I'm not really sure where they are right now. Let's see. Okay. This is from Ann Edmonds. My house was one of the ones chosen to complete the survey on the new Parks and Rec master plan. Will there be other opportunities for community input? I'm really concerned about the possibility that we may lose our city pools. Swimming is a survival skill, unlike other sports that the city supports. Thank you for your comment, Anne. I actually don't know about other opportunities to input on the parks master plan, but I will say that I also agree with you. As you know, Anne, I am a lifelong swimmer, and it is a survival skill. It also has been shown in multiple studies that public pools are essential for community fabric, really, that vibrant cities tend to have at least one. Where we are with parks right now is that we really need to be great stewards of what we have already invested in. And so the Parks Master Plan, the process has been about really ensuring that we have good fiscal planning for maintenance and upkeep of the parks, which of course we treasure. For a city our size, we have just a wealth of parks, and they're excellent. I will say that both pools are in need of a lot of repairs. And so we may come to a point as a city where we can afford to have one public pool, but not two. That decision hasn't been made. I am just being realistic that we have state cuts are with us. We already have a lot to maintain. And so we will be having to make some hard decisions, not just about parks, about many, many things in the coming years, unless we can get the State House to reverse what they have already done. And they are talking about some added amendments. Then this is, I don't know if it's a comment or a question, but from Christopher MG. From a business and workforce perspective, predictability matters. As the city looks ahead, how does the mayor and council plan to improve clarity, flexibility, and timelines in policies like the UDO and permitting processes so Bloomington can be actually open for business for private investment? Christopher, I'll answer from the mayor's perspective, and then Councilmember Piedmont Smith can answer from the council's perspective, I'm sure. As you know, we are going through an audit process with our permitting right now. We're in desperate need of complete reform in our permitting process. And as we look to the UDO and to some changes we'd like to make there, what is essential to me is that we are driving the UDO to be easy to develop good things and hard to develop bad things. That's the general principle that we are shooting for. And easy means that it should be a fast track. It should not take 18 months to get a permit in the city of Bloomington. And so some of what we deal with by trying to do the right thing is that we add layers and layers and layers of complexity onto our zoning code, and then it's very hard to figure out how to get something done. So my hope is that in making some tweaks to the UDO and through this permitting process, we can actually simplify things rather than make them more complex. And my goal is to get to a place where you can get most residential permits within 30 days. And that should be doable. If you're doing just a single infill lot without any variances, we should be able to get you in and out. So that's the goal. That's what we're working towards. And I think that's going to make a better Bloomington for all of us. Isabel, I'll let you comment on that as well.
Well, first of all, I want to say Bloomington is open for business, and we do have a lot of investments in economic development through the city, through the BDC, through Mr. MG's organization, the Chamber, and the Trades District has really come a long way in the last few years. And so I think there is a lot of movement in that area. And so I would challenge you if you think Bloomington is unfriendly for business. We certainly have tried very hard to listen to the business community, and I think we invested a lot there. One other thing I'll add to what Mayor Thomson said is that in addition to the permitting review and making that more efficient, the Hopewell South PUD proposal actually offers pre-approved plans for building different types of housing. And I think this will be very useful, especially for smaller scale developers, to just take a plan off the shelf and say, yes, in this block, we're going to build these 5 houses and we're going to, do 3 of this kind, 2 of this kind. And that's already been approved. So that'll make development there much better. And I appreciate the mayor bringing in Flintlock Labs, is that right? To create that proposal, and we'll be seeing that in the city council probably in March or April.
It's exciting. I think this is I don't know if there's a question in here, Paul, or not, but I'll read your comment. Carrie, I'm dismayed to hear that you prioritize growth because I think that prosperity through growth is a myth. Growth is ecologically unsustainable and it promotes inequality. Supply and demand does not explain the rising cost of housing, and increasing supply will not be the cure. For the people who live here now, we already have inadequate city services with regard to public safety, sewer and stormwater management, street maintenance, etc. We do not need more people. So, Paul, I'm happy to address your concerns and happy to have a conversation with you. I will say that Bloomington's population has actually declined, and so what we're seeing now is that we have better than 70% of our workforce is coming from outside of the county, traveling in. That is definitely ecologically unsustainable. And what we are seeing is that that now, especially with SEA 1 in place, the way that municipalities will be able to fund their public services is actually through income tax. It's not through property tax. And so the fewer people that we have living here, the worse those services are going to be. And particularly if you look at a development like the Hopewell neighborhood, you're actually investing a very small amount in infrastructure development and roads per home and per person that's there. So this is one of the most sustainable things that I think we can do. Happy to talk to you offline about that or answer further questions. And let's see. KRKCP, you have a, this is, I think, a long comment. This is many paragraphs long, so I'm not going to read the entire thing. It surrounds audits, and the general feedback is that the timing of audits makes audited financial data largely historical. Yes, so for whomever this is, I think it might be Kevin. As you probably already know, my administration came in and there were significantly delayed audits. We have been catching up on those, and we have made a great amount of progress with those. We are waiting on, and as you know, it looks like you are yes, you're a longtime CPA, so you know that they have to be sequential. You can't put all the audits together at once. And so we're waiting for the auditor to return the next audit, and then the one following is ready to go. And then at that point, we should be pretty well caught up. So we are working on it. It's a concern of mine as well. But I do want to, I do want you to know that we have really gained a lot of ground in the timing of these and in the transparency, especially the transparency between the controller's office and the rest of the administration, and therefore to council as well. Council, I think, is getting much better and timelier financial information, and a lot of behind the scenes that is not always easy to digest. The way that local governments do finance, because we have a general fund, then we have several bonds and other things that we manage. And so it is, and I know you're a CPA, but to my knowledge, we don't have any CPAs on council, and the general public are not CPAs. So we are really working hard in my administration to be as transparent as possible with our finances and really get them to a place where they're palatable and digestible for the general public. Desiree, can you see all of these comments? Are we missing anything? And Isabel, did you want to comment at all on the audits, financials, anything?
Well, I think that we do need to get on a better schedule with our audits, but as you said, Mayor Thomson, your administration had some catching up to do because of the previous administration. So I think we're getting there. We're getting to a better place, and we have a fiscal committee now with the council where the controller meets with us regularly, and we're trying to get on a path of more reporting and a better understanding. Since it is our fiduciary responsibility to approve budgets, I think we are learning a lot and heading in the right direction. Thank you.
Thanks, Isabel. Okay, this is from Sam Dove, wanting to know the status for county homeless camp at RCA Park. So Sam, that, as you say, that encampment, it's actually not at RCA Park, but it is adjacent. And that is on county property. And so the county, many of us have seen, the county has talked about that at various commissioner meetings. We're trying hard to partner with the county so that we have sort of a shared understanding of when camps need to be moved, the best way to do it. And at the city, we took the recommendations of Heading Home and the South Central Housing Network 2 years ago when I first took office. And we incorporated those into our procedures for when a camp does need to be moved. That creates a lot of transparency, and also, frankly, it has helped a lot just to have something people can anticipate. And so, what we do is, unless there's an immediate risk to health and safety. And I will say that generally there are health risks of living in an encampment. So we're talking about more safety risks. Then we give a 30-day notice, and we immediately deploy as many services as possible to get people relocated. We keep belongings, et cetera, so that we can do this with as much dignity as possible. Ultimately, I want to share that my vision is that we will get to be a Bloomington where nobody has to sleep outside, that everybody is offered a roof over their head. That is what we need to work towards as a community, and we really need all the boats rowing in the same direction. I will note that there is some legislation at the State House. I don't know if it got heard today because I have been a little tied up today, but this legislation is regarding encampments, and some of it is actually helpful. But there's a clause in that legislation that says that camps need to be moved within 48 hours, and that that will override any municipality's existing policies. So I've been working with the legislators that are writing this bill pretty intensively over the last couple of weeks. There have been many improvements, but I still have a problem with that particular part of that legislation, because especially in a large encampment, it is impossible to move people with dignity within 48 hours. And so that piece of the legislation is concerning. Okay, we are at 6:58. Desiree, have you seen anything that I'm missing?
I am seeing one more question. It's from an anonymous participant. Is the cited 70% of the working population coming from outside of Monroe County or outside of Bloomington and possibly living within Monroe County? What is the current population of Bloomington, and how much has it decreased since 2020?
Okay, so the current population of Bloomington is about 80,000. The school population we know is decreasing because they actually keep track of that, and it has been a challenge. The 70% is from an ROI study. I believe you can probably find that on their site, and that is from outside the county, not outside the city. I do see one more question that I think we can wiggle in. The Bloomington Symphony had a wonderful concert at Switchyard Pavilion. However, the chairs at the event were exceedingly uncomfortable. Does the Parks Department have any plans to replace those chairs? That is a question I do not know the answer to. But I saw a symphony performance, and those chairs did look uncomfortable. And probably we are dealing with skating a line between comfort, ease of cleaning, and transportability, if that's a word, when it comes to parks chairs for performances. So we may need some of those Bloomington innovators to create a comfortable performance chair that's easy to clean and move away. All right, that brings us to 7 o'clock. I really appreciate all of you all joining on Zoom. I hope you're wearing your PJs and have a nice cup of tea in front of you, and this was comfortable for you all. For any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to me at mayor@bloomington.in.gov. You can also feel free to call our office. Really appreciate you all being here with us tonight. We will do another traveling town hall in March. I can't remember where that one is, but I'm sure it's set and it will be announced. And on the months that I don't do traveling town halls, I do traveling office hours. And so I will be out and about in the community. That's your opportunity to sit down with me one-on-one and get your questions answered, discuss some of these things. So in February, look for that announcement. Sign up ahead of time so that you don't have to stand and wait. Have a great night, everyone.
And if I may, I also have my constituent meetings on the second Saturday of the month from 11 to 12. And those will be on Zoom all year, except for July. So you can go to the City Council website and get the link there.
Awesome. Thank you, Catherine and Isabel, for joining the town hall. You all are awesome. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.